The night was colder than usual, and the rain refused to stop. Jack Reynolds sat inside his beat-up truck, hands gripping the steering wheel as he stared at the eviction notice lying on the dashboard. The red stamp across the paper read, "Final notice." "Just one more week," he muttered, his voice cracking. "One more week and I'll get that paycheck." Jack was a single father trying to make ends meet after losing his job at the factory. His daughter, Lily, only 6 years old, was asleep in the back seat, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. The truck doubled as their temporary home, parked behind an old gas station on the edge of town. Suddenly, Jack noticed a car swerve off the road ahead and crash into a tree. Without thinking, he jumped out of his truck and ran toward it. Inside the luxury car sat an elderly woman, pale and gasping for air. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" Jack shouted as he opened the door. Her lips trembled. "My chest, I can't." Jack's military training kicked in. He gently pulled her out, laid her on the ground, and began performing CPR. "Come on, breathe, stay with me." Minutes felt like hours, but finally, the woman coughed and took a deep breath. The sound made Jack exhale in relief. "Help's on the way," he said, dialing 911. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedics praised him. One of them asked, "Sir, you saved her life. What's your name?" "Jack Reynolds," he replied, brushing off the praise. "Just doing what anyone would do." As the ambulance sped away, Jack had no idea that the woman he saved, Margaret Harrington, a reclusive billionaire, would soon change his life forever. Jack Reynolds could barely sleep that night. The sound of the rain tapping against the motel window mixed with the thoughts swirling in his head. The image of the elderly woman, Margaret Harrington, replayed in his mind again and again. Her frail smile, her kind eyes, and the way she had thanked him before the nurses took her away. He hadn't expected anything to come of it. To him, it was simple. Someone needed help, and he helped. But now, 3 days later, she had asked for him personally. Lily was curled up on the motel bed, her teddy bear pressed tightly to her chest. Jack looked at her and whispered, "We're gonna be okay, kiddo." Somehow, when morning came, Jack borrowed the diner's phone and called the hospital back to confirm. Yes, Mrs. Harrington still wanted to see him. Yes, she insisted he bring his daughter. It was strange. Billionaires didn't usually ask for people like him. The hospital's private wing was something out of a dream. The floors gleamed like glass, and every nurse seemed to move with quiet efficiency. Jack felt out of place, wearing his faded jeans and jacket that had seen better days. Lily clung to his hand, her big brown eyes darting around in awe. "Wow, Daddy, this place smells like soap and flowers," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "That's because rich people don't use our kind of soap." When they reached room 407, a young nurse greeted them. "Mr. Reynolds, Mrs. Harrington has been waiting for you." Jack nodded nervously. As the nurse opened the door, the soft scent of lilies filled the air. Margaret Harrington sat up in her bed, a gentle smile lighting her wrinkled face. "Jack," she said warmly, "I was starting to think you wouldn't come." He stepped inside, hat in hand. "Ma'am, I wasn't sure if you really meant it. I didn't want to intrude." "Nonsense," she said, her tone firm but kind. "You saved my life. The least I can do is have a proper conversation with you." Lily peeked from behind Jack's leg. Margaret's eyes softened. "And who is this lovely young lady?" "This is Lily," Jack said proudly. "My daughter." Margaret extended a hand. "Hello, Lily. You have your father's eyes." Lily hesitated, then shook her hand shyly. "Hi." Margaret chuckled. "Would you like some cookies? The nurse brought chocolate chip ones this morning." Lily's eyes widened. "Yes, please. Go on, sweetheart," Jack said, watching her take a cookie and sit quietly on the couch. Margaret turned back to Jack. "You remind me of my late husband, you know. He was a soldier too, strong, quiet, always putting others first." Jack smiled faintly. "Old habits die hard, I guess." She studied him for a moment. "Tell me, Jack, what do you do now?" Jack hesitated. "I work at a diner. Wash dishes mostly. Things haven't been easy since the factory closed." "In your home," he exhaled slowly. "We're between places right now. Just temporary until I can get back on my feet." Margaret's face darkened with concern. "You mean you're homeless?" He didn't answer, but the silence said enough. Margaret reached for something on her bedside table, a manila folder. She handed it to him. "I did a little checking. I hope you don't mind." He frowned, opening it. Inside were papers, photos, and what looked like property documents. I don't understand. It's yours, she said simply. A house, not far from here. 3 bedrooms, a yard, and even a little workshop in the back. You can move in immediately. Jack blinked, stunned. Ma'am, I can't accept this. You've already done too much. Margaret smiled. You saved my life, Jack. Let me save yours. But I can't pay you back. I'm not asking for money, she said gently. I'm asking for help. I need someone I can trust to manage my estate's security. I've had problems with people trying to take advantage of me. You're a veteran, I trust your instincts. Jack stared at her, his voice barely above a whisper. You're serious, dead serious, she said, then winked. Well, maybe not dead serious, given what you pulled me back from. He laughed nervously, emotion welling in his chest. Please, Jack, she added softly. Don't say no. I need someone with a good heart watching over my home. He looked at Lily, who was happily munching on her cookie, crumbs on her cheeks. A warm feeling spread through him, something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, all right, he said finally. But only if you let me work for it. I don't take charity. Margaret nodded. That,